Just got this saw. I think this makes 63 or 64 runners I have. Josh Thornton, Talented Mr. Green. Most people on the Simplicity Garden Tractor Forum will recognize that name. I guess I've known about him for, gosh, I hate to even say, 14, 15, maybe longer years, but really good guy up in Caledonia, Michigan. He got into Homelite chainsaws because Simplicity also had a Homelite, or Homelite had a Simplicity Alice-built tractor, and it was blue and white, and so this led him to chainsaws and other things, other Homelite power heads. But he let me buy this from him. I gave him a good price for it. I thought I didn't hesitate to buy it. But this is a Homelite Super 67, Super XL-67, and what it is it's got the big piston, the 58.2, 58 point something cc piston like the Super XL, but it is only a manual oiler. This will be the only manual oiler I have. But that said, this was only made in 67 as a commemorative model, and it was only made for the Canadian market. It'll come with a roller nose bar. It ships separately, and I'll have to get some more pictures and some more measurements on some decals to get those remade. But I'm really tickled to get this from Josh, and I appreciate him selling this to me. Like I said, this is the only manual oiler I have, and I doubt, I don't do pre-65 saws, what I call the primitive saws. I do the 65 and later. So this and a Super XL-12 auto oiler is probably the only ones that I have left on my bucket list, other than a XL-904 and then some other Canadian models, VI 200, XL-120, which not the circular saw. But yeah, I've got about 3 or 4 more on my bucket list. I'm happy to have this one. Like I said, it is a manual oiler, but it is probably what you would call a rare saw, being that the Canadian market was very small. And probably not a lot of these left, unless you trudged up there with your snowshoes into Canada to the Great White North. And got one unthawed from a glacier. Seen Mr. Chainsaw Canuck, good guy up there too. McKeddy, I think it was first name, but Chainsaw Canuck on YouTube. Good guy. He comes across some good stuff. Knows a lot about saws. Heck of a lot more than I think I'll ever know. But yeah, I've got probably close to 12 or 14 Canadian-made saws. I don't know if anybody knows this, but all the Super XL-25s were made in Canada. It was kind of a gift to Homelite Terry to make those saws up there, because they weren't producing a lot of saws in that market up there compared to the American market. So for them to be able to build a Super XL-925 from about 74 on, that gave them a lot more sales. And of course, they did the XL-100 series, and I mean, they probably had, oh gosh, I want to say 10, 15 or more of 100 series. Well, probably 10 or 12 100 series saws, along with these saws. A lot of people don't know, but this is a 67, of course. Homelite Terry didn't build a white, green, and red XL automatic in 65 or 66 or 67 like Homelite did. Homelite built this from 65 to maybe early 67. And then in 68, it went to the Super XL in the blue. Well, in 68, Homelite Terry started building the white, green, and red ones, and they continued to the latter part of the 1970s with that. So the only blue saws in that configuration were the Terry built XL-12s, the Super XL-12s, and the Super XL-67. I'm not sure if they built a Super XL AO or automatic in Canada in blue and white, other than the green, because that's what the green, red, and white one was, the Super XL automatic. and it started up in Canada the same time the blue and white when here started here in America. So I don't think you'll see hardly at all a Super XL AO in blue from Canada. What you might see though is one of these red ones with a chain brake, a primitive chain brake on it up in Canada from the early 70s, and it was a very primitive, ugly chain brake. But yeah, Homelite Terry, I don't think built this saw here. They built this saw here instead in those colors, and it was exactly the same. Homelite Terry did build this saw. That's an XL-400. And that one's a latter one, I think a 71, and that one had the rubber hand grips. The 70, this one didn't. The one earlier did not have rubber hand grips. And the XL-500 was built 1 year only in America and at Terry. I've got three of those, and one Terry built. And there was a few others that Terry built up there exclusively. The XL-902 AM, automatic manual override. That was an exclusive saw, which was probably very similar to the XL-850 or 800. It was a 68 saw, so it would have been similar to the, but I think that's a points ignition, so, but it's very similar to that. The Super XL-902 came about a little bit later, but that's a Canadian-only saw. So you won't, they didn't have a lot of big, they had a Super XL-922, and I don't know if Homelite America built one of those. They probably didn't. But a lot of these on this shelf are Terry saws. These are VI Super Mini SIs and Super Mini SLs. Those are both Terry saws. That's a VI 123. That's a Terry built saw, and it's in this one Super XL 130, VI 130, and XL 130 are all Terry built saws, as is the XL-76. I've got a pair, the XL 113 and XL 114, which one of them's a Terry saw, and it's has the electronic ignition. And then I've got the 103 and the 104. 104 has electronic ignition. 103 and 113 do not. Those are pretty hard to come by. There's another XL-800 I have, good runner, that's going to get a restore. Back in the back are two easy 250s, 1 year, 71 and 72. And then a super easy automatic and an easy automatic. And then I have that Homelite big red back here. That's my user saw. And then a Canadian-made Homelite 350P. Got that from Jeff Gladman. He's a good guy up there in Canada. There are a bunch of good guys up there. That's a Homelite 410. I didn't have to do anything with this. It had a broken flag on it, and I actually found one. Can't not believe it. That's a 80s saw, and it came to me pretty much like it is. There's a nice 550 up here and a 450. I've got the 350, 450, 550, and 750. This is the cream of the crop. This is a jewel. This is a Canadian-made saw, and that's the Homelite XL-701 automatic AM. Almost every one of the 700 and 701s you see are manual oilers only. They did make a 700 AM and in America and a 701 in Canada. They're probably the rarest saws that I probably would say. If you know a rare one, please tell me, of a post-65 saw. But they're really sought after. I've only seen a couple of those before. But I've got about 12 of the completely restored saws, 1130G, XP 1130G, the 750, the 2000, the 2100, another XL123, an XL102 automatic, and two XL500s, and an XL automatic, and two VI944s, and a VI922, all restored in the house. Never put gas and oil in them. So that's the end of this little talk.